All right, let's go ahead and get this party started here for tonight. We are coming up on 10 o'clock Eastern time. It is peak of the week Wednesday. Things are very quiet, but very dusty, smoky, gritty out there almost. I don't usually have a problem with anything involving the air around the area. My wife is asthmatic. My son is asthmatic. I'm not, but again, this is the time of the year with that smoke coming on through that we are seeing some pretty good irritants out there. And just with the pollen, I'm usually ragweed myself, but we can get a bunch of problems out there, and it feels a little thicker than usual, and we'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. This is Weather Overtime. Welcome to our online exclusive video weather blog. We'll be posting this a little bit later on our website at wdef.com/weather, and of course it's also, you can get in contact with us email and otherwise through the rest of the evening tonight, showing the potential of not much in the way of rain, some potential of thunderstorms tomorrow, maybe some severe weather. We'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit. Downtown Chattanooga lit up quite nicely as the hometown Lookouts head into town to play the visiting Tennessee Smokies. As we record this, it's heading to the bottom of the eighth with Chattanooga leading 9-6 in a very impressive triple, almost a homer earlier a couple of innings ago, so really cool to be able to listen to that on the radio. Right out about Lee Point, traffic moving along very nicely, but look at the view out to the southwest. That's not fog, that's wildfire smoke, and we're all breathing that in at this point in time. Likewise, from Island Cove, you can see Venus up there quite nicely, Mars barely visible, and a very large spider in the upper left corner. Apologies for the trigger there, anybody who's got arachnophobia. From the News 12 studios in downtown Chattanooga, again, not much taking place at this time. We've got, again, some pretty good conditions, but it's very hazy. Can't even see the hills or even much of sunset left over for tonight. And from Chattanooga Red Wolf Stadium, usually you're able to see the lights on Signal Mountain off there on the horizon, but with all the dust and smoke out there, we have got quite a lot of visibility issues at this time. So visibility is not what it used to be even just 24 hours ago. If you want to see proof of that, check out the picture that I took from downtown yesterday and today on my social media pages. Temperatures just below 80 degrees, and winds are currently calm at this time, so looking very nice for the time being. Did we make 90 degrees today? Yes, we actually did, making it right spot on even. Yesterday we didn't hit 90, came within 14 of a record high 104 last set back in 1952, and a record, wouldn't that be nice, low of 50 degrees set back in 1968. And when you start getting to the point that this is your record low temperature, you know you're pretty much in the thick of it. Got a pretty good surplus of moisture this weekend from those storms that moved through, so we're doing great for the month, ahead by 1.2 inches almost, but still behind by the year for about 1.25 inches, so we could use a little bit more. Should be about almost 28 inches or so at this time, and just about over that as well. So for right now, still very much on the dry side, and will continue to be that way through the next day or two. Maybe some thunderstorms tomorrow. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Christy Lynn Miles, thank you very much for a nice view of just the clouds and some crepuscular rays, as these are called, blocking out the sunlight, casting a shadow on the sky, basically. That picture taken from Dalton, Georgia. Thank you very much for that. Got weather pictures? Send them along to us. Again, pictures at wdef.com, or again, send them along to us at Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. That's the main News 12 social media pages out across the area. Air quality index for some parts of the News 12 viewing area, we have one county in the viewing area, and that is for Cherokee County in North Carolina. That's again over by where Murphy is, so worse air quality taking place there. Now zooming out a little bit, you can see the gray colors extend in many different directions over the course of almost 20 different states. So we are catching a tail end of the smoke, but it's bad enough for right now. And again, as of right now, we do not have an air quality warning in effect at this point. Not stopping the current conditions. This was taken from website IQ Air, that's IQAIR weatherblog.com. And again, this is where we are seeing some pretty poor conditions. Orange to red, that's where we're starting to work into right now. And that is again current. This will change hopefully again tomorrow when those storms sweep on through, if they form properly. This is where we may see conditions improve. But for tonight, probably a good thing that the lookouts are not setting off fireworks tonight, because all that extra sulfur and smoke and heavy chemicals drifting and settling into the air, that's going to make conditions worse. Again, more information, great website to go to for keeping track of this information out there. We're going to continue to see the potential of more of this smoke out across the area going into the next day or two. This is where it gets kind of interesting. Let me go ahead and put this into motion. What this is showing smoke way up in the atmosphere, called vertically integrated smoke. Down to the surface is near surface smoke. And notice that we're picking up again some larger amounts. But watch what happens again into around tomorrow as we get this burst coming on through. That's the rain we're expecting tomorrow, as that makes its way from well up north right on down into our area, and that should help to alleviate some of the smoke, disperse it, rain it out of the atmosphere, push it off into the Carolinas. But for right now, some of that smoke could be a problem into tomorrow, so that's why the air quality alert for Cherokee County is going to continue for right now. Hopefully again things start to clear back out by just a little bit, but we may see the potential of some more activity with smoke coming on through into the rest of the next several weeks and months. We just cannot discount them at this time, because again, what we're seeing is the potential for the patterns in the atmosphere to deliver that smoke down our direction. So that could be a distinct problem. Right now we've got again that area of low pressure that gave us part of the smoke that is in the area right now. This area again here, this area of low pressure circulating in with high pressure, that's funneling in some of this smoke coming down from Canada and from some of the firefighters, the hot shots and the fire scientists, the meteorologists up here into Quebec and Ontario are saying that this is going to take winter weather to come in and get rid of all these potentials for wildfires. That is really saying something. So something to consider as we look for a very smoky summer to continue. And that's what happens when you live on a terrarium in space. No fresh air coming in from any place, and that's going to continue to build up and cause problems. New storm system on the way from the west, slowly making its way toward us. What does that mean? As of right now, we should be seeing a very mild overnight, with temperatures tomorrow barely dropping below 70 degrees. Now tomorrow afternoon, let me back this up just a little bit. If everything works, and this is a different forecast than what I saw earlier on, as the models have changed by just a little bit, we seem to have the potential of a complex of thunderstorms coming on through, and there is a risk of severe weather. It's not much, but it is there. This, as it moves through, watch what happens to these temperatures. Again, near 90 by the time we hit early afternoon, and then by the time we work our way into the afternoon hours, temperatures should dive by at least a little bit, and that should help to relieve the heat for a little while and maybe get rid of some of the smoke out there through about Thursday evening into around Friday morning. Low temperatures are only going to be Friday morning in the lower 70s at best, and there could be some more showers and thunderstorms coming our way. Very early Friday morning does not appear to be a major threat of severe weather there for now. More chances of scattered showers and thunderstorms, very hot for Friday afternoon, and that chance of rumbles of thunder goes on through. Take a look at this. If this holds true, this is going to be very interesting, because by the time the sun starts to rise early Saturday morning, we will only have dropped into the mid 70s for low temperatures. That ain't cool. So we're going to be in both the physical and the colloquial sense of the word. This is going to be, or the phrase I should say, this is where we're seeing again the very warm conditions continue, which means that as we go into Saturday afternoon, it's a very good possibility, even with the chance of showers and thunderstorms out there, we are going to be doing a pretty good job of coming very close to the century mark. Now that's not a record high for the date, but it is, and after a while, hot is hot is hot. So again, it's not record breaking, but it's going to be pretty steamy out there as we go through the area for Saturday. So for outdoor activities, definitely want to keep that in mind if you're going to be outdoors anytime soon. 7-day forecast looks like this. Again, the next several days will be showing temperatures staying very hot through Saturday. We start to see an increase of showers and thunderstorms through the weekend, Sunday and afterwards especially, and we're starting to get into right here about 10, 20, 30% coverage chance. It's not much, but it is some. And then here we're talking about 40, 50, 60, 70% coverage chance, and unfortunately right around the time we're going to be setting off the fireworks, there could be some wandering natural fireworks out there, so we could be looking at maybe some postponements or some cancellations of some of the fireworks shows out there. And granted, again, this is still well in the future, so the closer we get, the more we know a little bit more accurately about what's happening. But outdoor activities, the parades, the festivities, great. Go ahead and plan it for now. Again, shouldn't have much of a problem. You may be ducking and diving raindrops through the day, but just be prepared to have a plan B for Independence Day festivities, especially if they're outside. Hopefully get everybody back indoors again way before the storm hits. That storm that happened out in Red Rocks, Colorado, there should have been a lot more planning and a lot more weather monitoring out that direction. There should not have been that many people out just waiting for that storm to roll on through. So preparation is key at this time of the year. So something, again, to consider for now. Okay, talking about the heat, we've got plenty of heat advisories in effect. Some of them for Texas, Oklahoma, and western Louisiana have been canceled, and just heat advisories. That's where the heat index goes up to about 105 degrees. The excessive heat warning is in effect for heat index temperatures 105 to 110 plus. So we're talking about some brutal conditions to be working or exercising outdoors. We also have some of that in effect now for the News 12 viewing area. And remember, we're covered over here in these counties for News 12 broadcast radius by 4 different National Weather Service coverage areas: Peachtree City, Georgia; Huntsville, Alabama; Morristown, Tennessee; and Nashville, Tennessee. So Nashville is putting Grundy County, Tennessee under the excessive heat warning. So the worst heat is going to be in these pink shaded areas: Middle Tennessee, North Alabama, and Grundy County could pick up some of that. National Weather Service in Huntsville showing these temperatures in DeKalb and Jackson County, Alabama are not going to be quite as terrible, but they're still going to be very warm. Again, heat index temperatures 105 plus here. Peachtree City and Morristown have not issued anything at this time because, as I said, I don't think this is going to be record-breaking temperatures, but I do think it is going to be basically just plain hot. So that is where we're going to be looking for now. So even though we don't have any advisories in effect, please plan ahead to keep track of yourself or anybody else who is working or exercising along with you. Now, in the next couple of days, again, important to keep an eye on what's going on around you. The main thing for heat exhaustion, you work outside during the heat, you're exercising out there, great. Pace yourself. Keep an eye on how you feel and when it's time to give it a break or call it quits. I remember mowing lawns back in Topeka, Kansas, and being told you don't have to mow the entire lawn at one time. Stop, take a break, replenish your water, and that's what you need to do, because heat exhaustion is classified mainly by confusion, dizziness, and also profound sweating. You're going to be getting this. The person who's suffering from heat exhaustion is just, the body is pouring the sweat out, trying to get it to evaporate, and in very humid conditions it can't do that properly. So profound sweating is going to be one of the keys out there. The key of this, the treatment, is to get the person into a cooler area, out of the sun, stop work, stop exercise, get in the shade, get in the air conditioning, sip water, do not gulp it, do not down a bunch of ice, because you don't want to suffer from thermal shock on the outside. You know, cooling yourself down with a hose, yeah, that's great, but just don't overdo it. Take it, again, pace it, and then when you're ready, if you think you're going to be able to, then you can get back out into it again. For anybody who keeps pushing it, this is where we start getting into a 911 situation. Hot, dry skin. The skin at this point in time, the body has said to the person, you've pushed me too far, I can't keep up, I'm shutting down. And this is, again, a 911 could be fatal emergency. So you've got to get that person some help immediately. Victim may fall unconscious, could be, again, dizziness or vomiting right beforehand, and again, classified by that hot, dry skin. Do not soak them in ice water. Again, thermal shock can be a killer. So again, cool spray of water, washcloths, things like that. Do not force anybody to drink the water, especially if they are unconscious. The last thing they need is to have that water maybe aspirating into their lungs. You don't want that. Cool them off from the outside in and get them to safety, get them to medical help. When they wake up, if they're able to sip some of that water consciously, yes. Slowly, yes. But again, this is something to really keep an eye on, and this can kill. This is one of the most underrated emergencies when it comes to weather across the entire planet. So again, please use caution and common sense and know when to call it quits. There's no shame in that, to say I really need to make certain I take care of myself more than anything else. Now, do we have any breaks coming up with this? Kind of, sort of. By the time we work our way toward about the weekend and into next week, it's going to be very much on the warm side, but it doesn't look like all the way on through the next several days into around, say, next week, the first Friday of July. It's going to be very warm, temperatures around the upper 80s, lower 90s, but at least we're not seeing that big heat dome that we've been seeing for the last several days here making its way on over. Will we see another heat dome this summer? Yeah, it's very possible, just not likely as the patterns begin to shift for just a little bit, and hoping it stays that way. Now, for severe weather purposes, we mentioned this earlier, no thunderstorm chances for tonight. As we go into tomorrow, there is the potential of a marginal threat of severe weather, damaging winds, large hail, things like that. Doesn't look like an isolated tornado threat for right now. Maybe back to our north where that slight risk category is. And then going into Friday morning, that is where we see the chance of thunderstorms leaving us back to the east. But there will still be chances of showers and thunderstorms around portions of the area. Again, it doesn't look like a huge threat, but it is a very possible one across much of the region out there. Let's go ahead and check in on the tropics real quick. What is left of Cindy, which was at one point in time a wave off of Africa, then a tropical storm. Now it's just basically a disorganized mess. So for what is left of Tropical Storm Cindy heading north, if this regains tropical storm status, it'll become Cindy again. But as of right now, a 20% chance over the next several days as it passes the area of Bermuda. Not really a major problem for right now, so good news again on that. But back to the west, and I'm talking way to the west, we do have a new hurricane, and only the A storm so far. As Andrew Harrison, news anchor here at 12, pointed out, it's kind of interesting to see that the hurricane season for the Pacific has now only produced the A storm. It's been that quiet so far, so interesting to see that only so far. And so far a Category 1 storm, 80-mile-per-hour winds moving west at 6. It looks like this is going to be making a beeline toward Hawaii, but in the next week or so it's going to take a northerly turn, head up into the northern Pacific. And that's interesting because it looks like this storm system, which was Tropical Storm Brett, the impulse of energy rolled over Central America. Now the National Hurricane Center, let me make certain this is updated, is giving this particular storm an 80% chance of development in the next 2 days, 90% in the next 7 days. So this was Brett over here, could become Tropical Storm Beatrice depending on what happens, and this could follow the path of Adrian, but then it looks like it's going to go north of Adrian, and the two of them might loop the loop at some point in time. No tropical storms and hurricanes don't stand much of a chance of merging because, again, the rotation kind of shreds out there, orbiting each other, called the Fujiwara effect. But no storms, according to the tropical storm experts that I've seen, say that the storms can actually merge due to those competing wind speeds and wind directions out there. Would be interesting if they did, no question, but as of right now, doesn't appear to be a threat. The Sahara continues to throw tons of sand and dust out over the ocean. that is again going to be reflecting more sunlight and doing a good job of taking care of any heating of the eastern Atlantic. So for right now, even though there may be impulses of energy coming in from off of Africa, it doesn't look like a lot is going to be forming because of this dust. Now, can they form? Yes. Will they? Right now, it's looking less likely with all this dust heading out over the ocean, blocking that sunlight and causing less storms to become more active that much more quickly. So that in and of itself is very good news. So far, again, looking decently quiet for the end of the week. And again, if you haven't heard about this, check it out. It's called Asteroid Day. It's meant to be falling on the anniversary of the Tunguska meteor or Tunguska event that struck eastern Russia back in the early 1900s, where a piece of a comet slammed into Earth's atmosphere and exploded over the horizon several thousand feet up. But the force of that explosion was enough to knock trees down for a very big radius. And we celebrate this to push ahead the idea that we need more mathematicians, more scientists, more people who can develop technology and practices that can look out into the solar system and beyond to see what's flinging around out there. And as Dr. Tyson has said, the dinosaurs never saw their asteroid coming 65 million years ago, so what's our excuse? We need to get busier on this. We need to promote math, science, and engineering. We need to talk it up, because I would like to live on this planet as long as possible, and we've already got enough asteroids flinging out there. We live on a planet that travels through a ginormous shooting gallery of asteroids going one direction or another. Most are about the size of an aspirin tablet or a grain of sand. Some of them can be as large as Mount Everest, depending on what their gravity is like. So take a look at more at asteroidday.org if you'd like to know more about that, and keep up to date with more science information from News 12. We'll try to throw more of that in there as we can. Don't forget also, with the school season coming up, and we've got summer science camps and vacation Bible school and all sorts of things like that. We'd love to come to your school, your event, your camp, whatever, and talk about weather safety. We'd love to be able to get the kids more interested in science, and if you'd like for us to be there, all you have to do is just go to wdef.com/weather and fill out the form on the Food City Weather in the Classroom program, and to find a date and a time where we can find an opportunity to get there and talk more about what weather and science and the environment and all sorts of cool stuff are all about. So please, again, give us a shout if there's something we can do for you, weather education speaking, and that goes for teachers into the rest of the fall semester upcoming. If you want to get us on your schedule, and it will fill up quickly going into about August and September, so now would be a good time to consider when and if you'd like us to appear in the near future. Once again, the big weather story of the day is the heat that's going to be heading our direction. That heat dome out west is moving east, and keep in mind that it's going to be stifling out there. It may not be specifically dangerous for Chattanooga and the rest of the News 12 viewing area, not covered over by heat advisories, but if you're working or exercising outdoors in the warned areas, yes, even more so. But in the non-warned areas, yes, you need to be paying attention to more about that. Just got a glitch on here. I'm hoping that we have been netcasting properly. Last time we got a glitch like that, I spoke for 7 seconds, and that was about it. So looks like we're okay for now. Jeff Peterson, just getting your messages. Sorry about that. We're between ridges in Sequatchie Valley and can't even see the one 2 miles away. Visibility is terrible here. I believe it. And with that visibility caused by that smoke, again, that's incredible stuff. How many NEOs are close to Earth? That depends on your definition of close. There are some that are really, really, really close, like Apophis in 2029, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to go between the Earth and the Moon, and there's several million others out there. If you want to search near-Earth objects and Jet Propulsion Laboratory, they've got some very good websites on what's available out there, and a graphic. I can't show it on this computer system because I can't put the internet graphics on this, and I can't switch over for some reason on my netcast for Facebook without shutting this whole shebang down. So Jet Propulsion Laboratory, near-Earth objects. Search those terms, and you should get an interesting couple of stories about what's out there and how much they've been counting for the last about maybe 20 years, 30 years of counting that type of stuff out there. Something really to consider, again, when we're talking about asteroids flinging around out there in space. Yes, thank you, no problem. Always glad to help with anything involving science out there. But suffice it to say, how many, I don't know. I do know that when you see how many there are, it is eye-opening. And when I always post stuff regarding Asteroid Day coming up, the one thing I always say afterwards is, once you get this information, sleep well tonight, because when you start looking at that stuff and how far we need to go to protect ourselves on this very small planet, and with millions of pieces of debris flying around out there to make space flight safer, to make exploration safer, it's really an incredible thing, incredibly dangerous right now. Look back on the 2015 asteroid that hit Chelyabinsk, Russia, and that's the type of thing that could happen again very easily if we don't do our best to look out there and see what is happening. All right, off my science soapbox for tonight. I'll be on with Andrew Harrison tonight at 11 o'clock. Chip Chapman will have your forecast bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Eastern Time, and I'll be back tomorrow afternoon to hopefully get some thunderstorms in here and clear out some of the air. Hopefully no severe weather, but we'll be keeping our eyes on that too. So we'll be breaking in as per normal if there is a reason to break in for severe weather programming. So keep it tuned to News 12 on air and online tomorrow for all the details. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. You've been watching News 12's exclusive video weather blog, Weather Overtime. Again, more coming up at 11, and Chip Chapman's forecast on the morning show bright and early on Thursday. Have a happy and safe Wednesday evening / Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us tonight.